Welcome to the show. Man, have we got the goods tonight. Tonight we have the very own Dr. Destruction in the house.
Yeah, you're in my house if you take a good look around you.
Well, you know, I got lost in the corridor on my way here. After zigzagging through and I passed the torture chamber, I finally made it.
Well, now you're here, looking good.
Thank you.
It's
You
the
as
first
well.
time anyone else has been in the desk of terror. It must be an interesting time in the Channel 14 history.
Well, you know, it does feel kind of like somewhat a cross between horror and terror. So
Okay.
between the fine line, it's all good.
From what I'm hearing, it's going to get a lot scarier later in the show.
Well, let's get started with Kenosha's very own unruly ghoulie, Dr. D. Now, how long have you been affiliated with Channel 14?
Since 2001, though I did try to start a horror host show back in 91, 92. But the then director had religious implications and thought that I was the devil worshiper or something like. Do I look like a devil worshiper? Come on.
Well, you know, I've been watching Crimson Theater since 2001,
I apologize.
2002. And I must say, it is a treat. It's a treat to come home, tune in, turn on, relax, drop out, watch the horror. Now, do you follow that order, or do you just kind of shift on the fly?
Well, I dropped out back when I was about 17, but then I went back, in my early youth to college. But I tend to follow all the different horror movies at home, and I have a particular interest as of lately in the H.P. Lovecraft films, even though some of them don't follow the book too well, but that's a typical movie thing anyway. But there is one called The Call of Cthulhu, made by the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, and it's a silent film, and the premise is that it looks like if they would have made one of H.P. Lovecraft's movies into a film in his own time.
Now, H.P. Lovecraft, I just saw the Dunwich Horror about 2 weeks ago on your show, and I was amazed. I was impressed with the set. I was impressed with the show. I was impressed with the transitions. It was all good. Now, is that an all-time favorite, or is that just something, again, that you went on the fly with and inserted your own artistic background into the overall?
Well, I just think that H.P. Lovecraft is a phenomenal horror actor, and the Roger Corman-based Dunwich Horror that came out was really fantastic feature. I thought it was very well done, and just a fantastic movie. I really liked it. Even though it doesn't follow the book that closely, it was very well done.
I agree, Doctor. I've also watched a lot of horror hosts do their thing throughout my lifetime. I've probably seen a handful of them. Any inspiration from these horror hosts at all, or is it pretty much something that you've just branched out on your own?
Oh, no. Of course, the history of the horror host is what spurred me to get into it from the beginning. Of course, I was always doing my performances in music and things, so when I was approached to be a horror host, I was like, of course, I would love to do something like that. And my inspirations, though, are definitely the original Svengoolie, and then, of course, Dr. Cadaverino as being some of the strongest ones that I remember. Too Loose No Neck was came a little bit later in the 80s, but I think the first one I ever saw, though, was Svengoolie, the original Svengoolie. Then I discovered Dr. Cadaverino, but by the time Dr. Cadaverino came on at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning, anything would scare you.
I agree. You know, that Dr. Cadaverino, I remember at a young age, his voice was always like that real creepy, scratchy, in your face.
There was something about his fangs that used to really creep me out. It'd be really late at night. That and the fear of being discovered watching TV at 1 in the morning or whatever when I was like 7 or 8. So.
Now, the name Crimson Theater has significance. Can you share with our audience and viewers what that exactly pertains to? The name, how you came up with it?
It was just straight out of the inspiration from Svengoolie show, which was Screaming Yellow Theater.
Okay.
So they wanted to call it Dr. Destruction's Chamber of Horrors, which I had the traveling haunted bus called Chamber of Horrors, and I just thought, I've seen so many people use Chamber of Horrors for something. I just thought Crimson Theater. It sounded much more palatable and much more crimson.
Yeah, you're right. The Crimson thing really stands out. When you hear the name or terminology Crimson Theater, I always think of Dr. Destruction. I know half of Kenosha does too, especially the guy who blows all the hot air on the local radio station.
Oh, yeah. What about that guy?
You know, I see he gives you a lot of respect. You know, he just recently
Uh-huh.
been trying to like be more on your side, but he doesn't have enough time in the day to do everything that he wants. But he does think you're a force to reckon with.
Well, I don't know what if he thinks that or not, but that's all good. I'll take it when I can get it, you know.
I know he thinks that. He made the comment a week ago. He said, outside of all the theater, Dr. Destruction is a force.
Well, maybe the force will be with you.
Now, Crimson Theater has it all. It has music, art, humor, horror, high-quality entertainment. I was fortunate where I attended the Dorian Gray Art Show about a week and a half ago, and I was impressed with all the artistic background that the people had. Is that the only medium you use to express yourself, or is that what you prefer?
It's just one of many parts of whether it be music or artwork. The Dorian Gray Art Show. It's been a good greeting place for alternative artists to really go. We've got several art organizations in the city, as you know already, but we kind of cater to the horrific side, which there's a lot of people that work in there and don't really have a good common ground to get together. So what we're trying to put together right now for this summer, an outside at night art show. And we want to call it the Summer of Lovecraft Art Show. I think that has a nice sound to it.
Definitely a jingle. Summer of Lovecraft.
Uh-huh.
With a capital C, craft.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be a craft show, though. Even though we wouldn't tell people that were crafters they couldn't come. I mean, some of these highbrow art community societies that are in Kenosha, like frown, like they think they're superior to people doing crafts. And well, I beg to differ on that. I think we need to have it open to everybody. And if you want to do crafts and be at one of these art shows of mine, you're more than welcome. I've seen some of these highbrow artists that think they're so above everything. And, well, I honestly, not that I criticize artwork very often, I could shred them pretty bad if I had to.
You know, there was a painting there when you first walked in, and it was a self-portrait, but I could have sworn the last time I saw that portrait, it was different. Was it different?
It was different. It changes all the time. I always add things to it on experiences, life experiences, and those bigger paintings perhaps I'll be remembered for more than some of the smaller ones.
Now, I know personally that Saturday nights are always a treat. I rush home to tune in at 9 o'clock. You've got something special on the back burner here, and you mind sharing with our viewers exactly what that is? Is it a Saturday night horror fest, or is it a trilogy of terror, or is it something that you guys just put all together, melded into one, and that's how it transpired?
Well, it was Ralph Piero started showing the horror movies on Channel 14 really first, and he brought it about. Then I got involved, and then we've got the other show now too, Nightmare Cinema, and so we propelled ourselves into a horror station on Saturday nights, which is a cool thing, and I think a lot of people enjoy watching all three shows, and they're a definite asset to the channel. And there'll probably be a few more. I'm actually surprised there isn't a few more horror host shows popping up in Kenosha, to tell you the truth.
Well, speaking of popping up in Kenosha, I'll never forget the time when I went to the outdoor theater and The Exorcist was playing, backed by Beyond the Door, and talk about a scary experience. Now, Doctor, have you ever been scared? Have you ever saw a scary movie that actually gave you chills?
When I was younger, I remember the sheriff scene in Equinox really freaked me out back in the day when they showed that at the Roosevelt Theater. Of course, speaking of trilogy of terror, remember with the Karen Black? You remember the little devil doll and that
Yes,
that one?
I
That
do.
freaked me out pretty bad. So I've had my level of horrifying experiences, but nothing as terrifying as today's presidential political climate.
Now, Doctor, is it true that you're going on 461 years old?
467.
Oh, 467. Well, your blood must run cold. Does your blood run cold?
At times it does, yes.
Now, for the viewers, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color?
Your favorite color.
It's crimson.
Absolutely.
Or orange.
Well, there you have it, ghoulies. Tune in, turn on, relax, kick back, and watch Trilogy of Terror. You won't be disappointed. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and ghouls, you are in for a treat tonight. Right now we have Kenosha's very own Ralph Vampiro Piero. Kenosha's very own Italian Power.
More like Italian vampires, if you can think of it. Or more like Groucho Marx trying to be Dracula. I don't know, but whatever.
Now, Piero, I have to say, it's definitely an honor and privilege being here. As a youngster, I was tuning into Creature Feature back in the day, and I used to just run and race home to get in front of that TV. First, I had to do my chores. The chores didn't get done. I didn't get no allowance. I didn't have access to the television, nor could I stay up late. So if I did all of the above, I was good to go, and I always look forward to the Creature Features. Now, can you please share with our viewers what Creature Feature stands for, what it's all about, and what it means, and what it's meant in the past, present, and future?
Well, it's basically nostalgia. I think, you don't have any fun in television anymore. I think, you turn on TV nowadays and you have these reality shows, and it's pretty sad that that's what entertainment is today. There is no writing or scripting nowadays. And I think watching Creature Feature brings out that nostalgia. You had movies, you had either trailers, or you had something that brought forth entertainment, and actually wholesome entertainment, I may add. The movies were entertaining. You would have either we didn't have a host in Creature Feature. Basically, it's more for the movie. I felt that the movie needs to be glorified more than a host or anything. And I like hosts. But I thought I consider my show kind of like a bridge to any other shows, and I show the old monster movies and sometimes some good old trailers that some people can remember from the past.
Absolutely. Now, Creature Feature has been a part of Channel 14 and Kenosha Community Media for how many years now? Is it going on 9 or is it 10?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I put it out in, I think, 1999. And the reason how I got that was I was working at the time at a grocery store. And a gentleman came up to me and says, I used to work for WGN. And at the first I'm going, okay, that's nice. And he goes, I see you on TV. You're in that show Just Talking. How come there's nothing on TV anymore? And I couldn't answer him because, I was just starting to go work on public access. And I go, I don't know, sir. I'm just working at a store. Well, the next week he comes in and he brings us videotape. And to my knowledge, and to my astonishment, it was the intro from the original Creature Feature. And he told me later on he worked for WGN, he retired. Now this gentleman's long passed on. And it's kind of interesting that here's this guy that actually seen it, and he's also later on saw my wrestling. He goes, "Oh, I loved your wrestling. You're better than the big three." And I'm going, "Well, thank you." And I do this because I love my audience. And that's a sad thing nowadays. I think in television or even the networks, they don't really care about the audience. They care about making money. And I think that's the wrong approach. I like my audience. I love my audience. I do this for my audience. I don't make a lot of money. My happiness is going to place of businesses and people stopping me. Hey, you do this, and I'm really glad you put this back on TV. That's my happiness. And I think that's what brings people to watch television, in my point of view. I think, if you don't have an audience, you don't have a television station in reality. I mean, that's the reality. And I think me going on TV, showing Creature Feature, helping on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, and also helping on Nightmare Cinema, brings back the love for the audience. I really think that's why we do this. It's the love for the audience.
Well, the variety that you see between all three shows definitely shows different facets of your different personalities. And I must say, does it surprise you at all that you get recognized for certain things and others for the other, or no?
It amazes me. The word comes amazing because what you see is what you get from me. I'm not this this guy is big. I'm a down to earth person. I love people. I'm a people person. I think that's what makes me successful for my shows. It's like if you own a store and you didn't listen to your customers, how do you expect to make money, or not only make money, how do you make business if you don't like what you're doing? I like what I do. I love the audience. I love my job. I love the people I work with. I think of this as my second family, and I love the audience. I mean, that's what I do. I love the audience. You have a former principal of mine who used to tell us we shouldn't be watching horror movies or monster movies. Came up to me and goes, "Hey, I watch your show," and it's kind of like that's irony right there if you think of it. So I think that's a big push in my favor. I think.
Well, I can see how that could be very inspirational to hear other people's stories of Creature Feature and what they used to do to tune in and to enjoy the program itself. I know that I've seen many scary movies on that creature feature. And one of them that's really stood out was The Bride of Frankenstein. And I happened to be dozing off. I woke up and I saw Elsa Lansworth there dressed up as the bride. And she was from head to toe in this gown touching the floor. And she had her arms all wrapped up and she had the mummified look going on. But she had this silver streak in her hair, like she got jolted and bolted by this streak of lightning. And when she saw the monster, she ended up like hissing at the monster. And it was that twitching and hissing and the rejection of the monster, which in turn drove the monster to the rage and rampage. Mm-hmm. But that always stood out for me. Is there any particular moments of a movie that captured your interest?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because my very first movie I saw in Creature Feature as a kid was The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And a little bit later, there's going to be a tribute of Ben Chapman, who was actually the monster.
Yes,
there was actually, a lot of people, you're going to find out there was actually two people in that suit. There was underwater scenes where there's a swimmer and actually a Hollywood extra named Rico Browning. And the monster you saw on land was Ben Chapman. You'll find that later on, some more later on this documentary. But that was the first movie I've seen. And I agree with you 100%. When you see a movie that you remember where you were at and where you were doing. And Creature Feature kind of gave me the memories when I was a kid. And like you, I used to sit home and I used to, come on. I used to arrange my Saturdays because of these. You either watch wrestling in the daytime, you watch the monster movie in the night, and then maybe cartoons in the morning. And I feel sorry for today's generation because they're not having that exposure. I think today's television and today's entertainment has gotten to a point where they don't really care about the audience. They care about, again, we know what you want. And I think that's a wrong approach. But I agree with you. I love that, remembering the first time I saw the original Creature Feature and remember seeing, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. And it's kind of irony that we're also doing not only tribute to horror hosts and horror shows on television, but Ben Chapman as well.
And I've hung out with you about 2.5 years at the local college in town here, roaming them dark, dreary halls, and I must say that you have a faithful following, and that following is very loyal to you, and they do recognize your mighty fine work. I've also noticed that here at Kenosha Community Media, you have an integral part in the production, all that goes on here.
Oh, yes.
Do you think that you're replaceable? I don't.
I don't know. Like I said, it's a hard job. I think if anybody does television, I'm going to tell you that, you got to realize that television is not easy. I don't think, if you don't have the heart for this, I don't see a person pushing. Because sometimes you do get pushed to the breaking point.
Well, I know you can't be replaced because everybody speaks highly of you. They think highly of you. They feel highly of you. You're a part of the family. But I must say, Mr. Pirro, you've really made an impact in my life, and I know you're making an impact in others. Is there anything that you think the viewers should grasp onto when tuning into Creature Feature, other than the really cool trailer, the music, the monsters? I notice at the end of your movies you show homemade movies that you produced.
Well, like I said, I think I'm a natural-born entertainer. Like I said, I'm not going to be cocky. What you see is what you get. Like I said, I love my audience. And I also think Kenosha, born and raised, a town that gave you Orson Welles, Don Amici, and other talent, we don't show that. Instead, we sun that. And I think I would like to see more of Kenosha involvement in films. You have beautiful settings,
You do good work, Mr. Pirro, I'd have to say. I know from personal experience that Saturday nights is a night of terror. You have all 3 movies. You're in the middle of Crimson Theater and our up-and-coming Nightmare Cinema. Is there anything else that you have on the back burner or any current projects that you're working on?
Well, like I said, I always never tell my audience what's going to happen. It's like a surprise. You never know. I might make another movie, another documentary, or anything that's entertaining. But that's how I can leave you. And I'm sorry for all you people out there if I brainwashed you guys.
Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from Mr. Pirro himself. I'm Keith Warren, producer at Kenosha Community Media, Channel 14. Stay tuned, because there's a lot more to come. Welcome to the show. You are in for a treat tonight, ghoulies. All you loyal night children, stay loyal, because tonight we have the Wolfman himself in the house. Jerry Ball.
Hey, y'all. How you
Happy
doing
to
there?
see you. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
Now, Channel 14's been on the air for quite some time, but I've just noticed recently that I've been tuning into Nightmare Cinema.
Well, bless your heart.
How long has Nightmare Cinema been on, and how long have you been affiliated with Channel 14?
Okay, well, I'll answer question 2 first, all right? Years ago, back in, I think, back when it was still Jones Intercable, I had a show with another character I created named Chef Perkins, and that was the show was by the same name, and we did about 16, 20 weeks worth on a 4-week budget. That's about how adept that show was. But we dressed up like an old British fellow, you know, and had the derby and everything, and we prepared a meal. Now, we made up the meal on the spot. There was no recipe. And we had to give it up because people kept writing in for the recipes. You know, it was supposed to be a darn joke. You know, it was supposed to be funny, and people thought it was real, so we quit doing that. Then I took off. I did some stage work, and I did some work in the, they used to have a talent pool here for commercials. I did some voiceovers, a couple commercials of no import or consequence. Did some stage work with the Lakeside Players. Hey, y'all support Lakeside Players now, yeah? Because we need them around here. All right, you go see those plays. I used to work with them. I did Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and I got a good review for that. And I worked with Christmas Tree House. Time went by, and one day I was watching Channel 14, and I saw Dale's show on there. And we got in contact with one another. That story is best told by Dale, all right? You let the doc tell you all that story. But one thing led to another, and I created a character for that show that we called Tepish.
Tepish. I do
Yeah.
remember Tepish.
Yeah.
I was at the Haunted Corn Maze, and I saw the Haunted Corn Maze on TV, and you are scary.
Everybody says that, man. All I did was slap some black and white and blue makeup on and put on a hooded coat, and then I took an accent sort of like, you know, the woman from the Wolfman, Maria Ospenskia, who says, she's the one that, you know, the gypsy lady, the way you walk was thorny through no fault of you. And I deepened it a little and added a little Bela Lugosi, and we came out with Tepish. And I think the scary thing about Tepish was if he kept his face down, you couldn't see anything because he was all in black. And then in the darkness, he'd throw his head up and go, and people would just run. They would be gone. I had people throw their children at me on Dale's Haunted Bus and run the other way. You know, that was a lot of fun.
Speaking of the haunted bus, I think I seen you on the trolley at one time, keeping a beat, tapping your foot, and you had a
Yeah,
cane, and you
yeah.
were tapping to the music.
Well, me and Dale and his friend Paul. Paul was filming that night. I think we had the lately departed Don Lipke, who played the part of Lampini. And we were just riding around in a trolley at Christmas time with the characters that were doing the Dickens characters. That year, Dale was supposed to be the Ghost of Christmas Past, I think. And there was an Irish band on there. Well, with a name like Ball, you see, I couldn't help but be taken by the Irish beat. And I just started tapping me foot, and then one thing led to another, and the doc started clapping. So we were doing a little impromptu jig on the trolley. And,
Now, I've noticed when I watch Nightmare Cinema, I see more than just horror movies. When I tune in, I see movie trailers, I see commercials, I see cartoons, and they're all of a certain time period, and they are very vintage. That is just way outright cool. What inspired you to do that?
the fact that I turn on my television and there's a bunch of junk on there, man. And I said, there's got to be something better than this. You know, I'm tired of waiting all week to watch Vampiro and Dr. Destruction on TV. I just think that my target audience is baby boomers and their extended families. And people in the baby boomer age, of which I am unfortunately part, we tend to remember things fondly from our youth. And in our youth, those were all reruns during the daytime, like they have Mork and Mindy and things like that now. I just look around. I go to the government archives. The Library of Congress has a film archive that you can anything in there is in the public domain. You can find all that stuff there. Okay, and I would just go through the old TV shows and newsreels and things and pull them out, and I say, you know, that'd be cool to put on. I try and get something that's themed with what we're doing at least that month, if not that week. This week, I don't know when this is going to air, but this is May 2nd, Friday, May 2nd. And we're on at 10 tonight, and then we're at late night Saturday, actually 2 a.m. Sunday, and we repeat it Wednesday afternoon at 2. And I got a treat for y'all. I have a classic episode of Ralph Edwards' This Is Your Life featuring Boris Karloff. And that's going to be really nice. And then to go with that, we've got our normal, I tried to throw in a vintage cartoon. I think this week I've got one of the very first, not the first Popeye cartoons called Blow Me Down. And KG's supposed to have that up on the website, so you all go to the website and you can get the rundown for the whole month. I just think it's something people want to see again.
You know, that seems to be the underlying catalyst here, is that we're all fond of our youthful memories of all these horror genres and horror movies and horror hosts and horror actors. That seems to be like the underlying theme here. But I've noticed you mentioned the word the KG lady. Who is the KG lady? And please share with our viewers real quick and
KG
brief.
lady is best director in the world, y'all. I want you to know, KG, without KG, we wouldn't have much. I mean, me and Vampiro could probably put on a decent show, but I think she's the heart and soul of the thing. I might be the inspiration and the creativity behind the show itself. But KG lady, that is Karen Gulbranson, and she actually got that tag when we took the video class out here, because I'd been out of it for so long I had to retake the class, and it was she and I and John Mikulski, who does Politalks. We're all taking the test. We were teamed up together, and when we had to do our little iMovie, I just typed in, I billed her as the KG lady, and that just stuck. It's Karen and Gulbranson, and she has her own business that she does part-time. She has a regular job, like the rest of us, got a regular job. We do this part-time. And then she has her web service that's a digital media design, and it's called KG Media Designs LLC. Well, anybody who's watched the credits knows that. But without KG, and without Vampiro too. Now KG is, well, man, love you, KG, darling, because without you, KG, we wouldn't have nothing now. Yeah, and Vampiro, well, we love Vampiro, so.
Yeah, we all love Vampiro. I must say, watching the credits, I do see computers for kids on there. Can you share with our viewers what that's all about? Are you still accepting the donations of the computers?
I ask you donate directly to a child you know, okay? And if as long as the thing starts up, boots up, and goes online, preferably got some kind of a port, give it.
Hello, this is Brownfields River, 69 acres of habitat, and 42 of it industrial. Sometimes everything doesn't look always right. Habitat's being destroyed, as this same water that gives life also can take life. But in this case, this water is where life ends. For all the PCPs and other pollutants in the water, of industrial junk, industrial waste being dumped in the water. Yes, one time this used to be clean, but now all dirty. All habitats being destroyed, overturned, no hope at all. And if this is not only the end, there is no other way to tell this tale. Yes, Brownfields River, a dirty, filthy, wasteful water of industrial waste and people neglect. The habitat's destroyed, and darkness blooms. Oh, there's been ways of cleaning it, but still, people of neglect, unrespect of the habitat, and no worries about the future can lead to what we're about to tell you. A tale of only some proportion of imagination, of all the PCPs and wasteful junk that's in the water.
sometimes it's hard to believe that we drink the same water. A very murky and dirty water that Brownfield River used to not be. A clean water one time, but man has destroyed it. And this will be a beginning of a tale, a beginning of some sort of nightmare, because Brownfield River is a wasteland of goop and junk that industrial parks have dumped. One time, while these habitats were flourished with animals and other living things, but slowly it's disappearing. And not since the dawn of time has we not seen clean water, for this is a tale of Brownfield River, a tale of misunderstanding, neglect, and even of terror. Yes, habitats being destroyed, overrun, animals leaving their territories to move in for safety because the water isn't clean enough. Fish containing several numbers of cancer, and also fish dying in the front of the waters. Yes, a gloomy, not since the cleaning of the fur traders, and also the respect of the water of the fur traders, not like today, where we disrespect their nature. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as we push for success, we also push for destruction. As landfills destroy our habitats, just like a nuclear explosion, life is ended and another type of life is beginning, of pollution. Yes, tale starts out with a young man, a hot summer day, knowing that what he's about to do will change the face of life and his own life. The heat is pounding because of excess pollution. He's thirsty, drinking. He needs a drink of water. As he's thirsty and the heat gets powerful and powerful more, he wants to drink water. He thinks innocently that he drinks this water to quench his thirst. But little does he know that this is the beginning of the end of him. The PCPs and the pollution now get into his system. He'll think he's feeling fine, till all of a sudden he'll have pains in his stomach. Doubt of living on this world, because today is the beginning of his new identity. As he spews out his poisonous drink of water, he goes woozy and fainting. As time went on, he changes into a creature that looks for blood, because therefore he's now a monster of the Brownsfield River, now looking for victims, just like pollution destroying the habitats of nature. A girl walking to see the summer afternoon wind, looking out upon the water, not knowing where her fate is. Only if she only knows, she would not walk through this area, especially in Brownfield. Yes, she's walking to her destiny. Sometimes either she's disgusted about what happened to the habitat, but not only is she disgusted with the habitat, but what's happened to the water. She walks to the forest, checking it one time, remembering when the forest was full of life, but now of pollution, destruction, and many other misunderstood questions. She's walking to something that she will not come out of. Because this is where she will find out what has happened to Brownsfield River. The pollution has gone extremely dangerous. Now walking innocently to a forest, disgusted what happened when her past, and disgusted what's happening with our treatment of the environment. As she's walking, looking at what has happened and has changed in the forest, looking where once one time was wonderful plants and animals is now this clear cut and made for housing. She walks down to see what other things have happened. the pollution has overrun her thoughts and fears. She discusses fears for her life, discusses what she's seen. It's the creature pollution has created. It comes after her. This could all have been prevented if we kept close to our habitats and didn't pollute our rivers. But now she'll be another victim of Brownfield's terror. So don't let this happen to you.
There are far worse things facing men than death.
Ben Chapman. I'm the original Gillman from the movie The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Now, I noticed they filmed that in Florida. Where in Florida did they film that?
It was at a place called Wakulla Springs. In fact, in November, the first week of November, I'm going back as the guest of the Tallahassee Film Society, and we're going to celebrate Creature from the Black Lagoon at Wakulla Springs, and we're going to take a boat cruise on the original Black Lagoon.
And I noticed, how did you get to be the Creature from the Black Lagoon? I mean, I know Universal Studios produced it and everything. I mean, of all the people, why?
Well, in those days, you know, we had what we call contract players. And I was a contract actor from Universal Studios. And how I got the part, everybody thinks I went through a big audition. Actually, it was being in the right place at the right time, because I came in one day, I was talking to some people from casting. They asked me, had the studio approached me about this new movie. I said no. They asked me to come back the next day. I met with Jack Arnold, Bill Allen, and all the people. And it was as simple as that, and I got the part.
I also noticed you were a swimmer.
Well, primarily that was the prerequisite, because I was a free diver. In other words, dive 80, 90 feet, hold your breath 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. So they thought that would help, but as it worked out, is that they filmed everything in Florida while we were in North Hollywood. So actually, a gentleman named Rico Browning did the underwater.
And then, and that suit, I mean, was that a heavy suit to put on, or?
No, actually, it was made of foam rubber. It was very pliable. If we were working on a sound stage, yeah, it got very hot because of the light. But I had a gentleman off in a corner there with a hose. And I would simply tell, because you could feel your body temperature rising. And I just tell him to hose me down until I tell him to stop. In other words, get my body temperature to come down.
And was it the work in that type of set? I mean, were you excited, or were you just, you know?
Well, you know, you've got to remember, when you make movies, it's a job. You know, everybody looks at it as glamorous. But making movies is really a tough job. You get a lot of long hours and a lot of conditions you may not like. But making Creature from the Black Lagoon was a real joy, because the whole cast, everybody, it was the type of movie that when you got up in the morning, you couldn't wait to get to work. They were just great people, just nice people.
Oh, thank you very much. And back to you, Jay.
Thank you very much.
Pete, you could be the first man to scientifically study a creature that, by all the laws of nature, should have died 250,000 years ago.
They dared to bring him back alive from his haunts deep in the jungles of the Amazon. They dared to put him on display with the other denizens of the deep, while thousands came to marvel and wonder.
You know, I pity him sometimes. He's so alone. The only one of his kind in the world.
If anything goes wrong, you head straight for the surface, you understand? All right, let's go.
They dared to study him, to probe him, to tempt him with the lure of a woman's beauty, thinking that mere chains could hold in check the primeval forces that surged and roiled within this strange being from the dawn of time.
Hey, look! He broke the chain!
Give me what I wanted. Now you're gonna pay.
Hello? Mrs. Claus? Santa Claus was kidnapped. Okay, I'll take care of it. Hello? Huh? Starfire? Santa Claus has been kidnapped. Can you take care of that? I don't know how the kids are going to handle it without Santa Claus.
I'm gonna get bad boy Tony. If he heard Santa Claus, he's gonna be sorry. Gotta get that boy Tony and give him the revenge. He's not up there.
Really gonna get it now? You aggravated me for the last time. Last Christmas, I told you what I wanted. You didn't deliver it. So now, time has come for you to go. I'm gonna do much worse than kill you. Yeah, it's me. I got the big red one. Where do you want him?
Doing good, Greg. That boy Tony.
I hate Santa Claus.
Oh, I hope somebody saves me.
Be invisible. I'm gonna get you. Santa Claus has been here too. I believe you dropped this bad boy, Tony.
Stop fighting.
Are you okay, Santa Claus? Did he hurt you? Do you think somebody else is involved in this?
I don't know.
I wonder who's involved in this.
This job, there's a mastermind behind this.
I want to sit down for a while. I ain't feeling too well.
That's great stuff, Ryder. You found Santa Claus. But there's a mastermind. And it's me.
Starfighter, you saved me. Thank you. Now you go do my job.
You're welcome, Santa.
Thank you.